What if the smartest thing you could ever say is, I don't know? That sounds backwards, right? We live in a world that rewards confidence, certainty, and having all the answers. But over 2,000 years ago, a Chinese philosopher named Lao Tzu turned that idea completely on its head. He said the person who knows they don't know is the wisest of all. And honestly, the more you think about it, the more it changes everything. Let's break this down. Lao Tzu was the founder of Taoism, one of the oldest and most influential philosophies in human history. His entire worldview was built around this concept called the Tao, which roughly translates to the way. But here's the twist. The very first line of his most famous text, the Tao Te Ching, says something like the Tao that can be spoken is not the true Tao. In other words, the deepest truth about reality cannot be captured in words. It cannot be pinned down by the human mind. So right from the start, Lao Tzu is telling you that the universe is fundamentally beyond your ability to fully comprehend it. And that's not a failure. That's the starting point of real wisdom. Think about it this way. Imagine knowledge as a circle. Everything inside the circle is what you know. Everything outside is what you don't know. Now, here's the key. The edge of that circle, the boundary, that's your awareness of what you don't know. As your circle of knowledge grows, so does the edge. So the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. A person with a tiny circle of knowledge has a tiny boundary. They have very little awareness of their own ignorance. They feel certain, they feel complete. But the person with a vast circle of knowledge, their boundary is enormous. They are constantly confronted with how much remains unknown. This is exactly what Lao Tzu was pointing at. The person who thinks they know everything has actually stopped learning. Their mind is closed. It's like a cup that's already full. You can't pour anything new into it. But the person who acknowledges their ignorance, their cup is empty, and an empty cup can be filled endlessly. Now, modern psychology has actually confirmed this ancient insight. There's a well-known phenomenon called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger discovered that people with the least competence in a given area tend to dramatically overestimate their abilities. Meanwhile, true experts tend to underestimate theirs. The less you know, the more confident you feel. The more you know, the more humble you become. Lao Tzu described this pattern 2.5 millennia before anyone put it in a research paper. But Lao Tzu wasn't just making an observation about psychology. He was offering a way of life. In Taoism, humility isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strength. Water is one of the central metaphors in the Tao Te Ching. Water is soft, it's yielding, it flows around obstacles instead of smashing through them. And yet, over time, water carves through stone. It shapes canyons, it moves mountains. The person who admits they don't know everything is like water. They're flexible, they're adaptable. They can flow into new understanding because they haven't hardened into a rigid position. Compare that to the person who is absolutely certain about everything. They're like a brittle rock. They might seem strong on the surface, but when reality hits them with something unexpected, they crack. They shatter because they built their entire identity on being right, and the universe has a way of proving everyone wrong eventually. There's another layer here too. When Lao Tzu talks about not knowing, he's not just talking about intellectual humility. He's talking about something deeper. He's pointing to the limits of language and thought itself. We think in categories: hot and cold, good and bad, right and wrong. But Lao Tzu believed that reality exists beyond these dualities. The Tao is the unity beneath all opposites, and you can't think your way to it. You can only experience it by letting go of the need to categorize, label, and define everything. This is why meditation and stillness are so central to Taoist practice. When you quiet the mind, when you stop trying to figure everything out, something remarkable happens. You begin to perceive things as they actually are, not as your thoughts tell you they are. That's a kind of knowing that goes beyond knowledge. It's direct experience, unfiltered by opinion or ego. Socrates, interestingly enough, arrived at a very similar conclusion around the same time period on the other side of the world. He famously said, "I know that I know nothing." The oracle at Delphi declared Socrates the wisest man in Athens, and Socrates spent the rest of his life trying to figure out why. His conclusion? He was the wisest because he was the only one who recognized his own ignorance. Everyone else walked around convinced they had the answers. Socrates knew better. Two great minds, separated by thousands of miles and completely different cultures, arrived at the same truth independently. That should tell you something. So what does this mean for your life right now, today? It means the next time you're in an argument, and you feel that burning certainty that you're absolutely right, pause. Ask yourself, what might I be missing? It means the next time someone challenges your worldview, instead of getting defensive, get curious. It means recognizing that the most dangerous words in any language are "I already know that," because the moment you believe you have all the answers, you stop asking questions. And when you stop asking questions, you stop growing. You become stagnant. You become that full cup with no room for anything new. Lao Tzu's message is ultimately one of liberation. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. In fact, the pressure to know everything is one of the heaviest burdens you can carry. Set it down. Embrace the mystery. Say, "I don't know," not with shame, but with wonder, because the universe is vast and strange and beautiful beyond comprehension. And the wisest person isn't the one who pretends to understand it all. It's the one who stands in awe of how much there is still left to discover.